I don't know if you've ever had the experience of turning on a television show and you're not sure if you're about to watch a comedy or a police procedural, and therefore you don't know if the cute couple is about to be murdered. So I'm letting you know, this one's for fun. It's an old Spanish, South American story, a bit of a combo of many different versions. And two of the major changes that I made are I got my Spanish lessons from Argentinian friends, so the pronunciation is a little different. And the main character traditionally is not human, and I have made her human for this story. Her name is Martina Martinez. So if you read about her elsewhere, you will suddenly discover she's grown antennas. And I don't want to be the cause of any confusion. I call it Abuela's pot. Martina Martinez had an abuela, a grandmother, whom she called Lita. Lita had a small pot for cooking eggs, a bigger pot for potatoes, a bigger pot for soup. So what? I have so many pots, it takes my husband with a degree from MIT to get them to fit into the cabinets. But Lita had a huge pot. A pot so big a full-grown man could fall in, boots and all. At least that's what Lita said. Don't go too near my pot. A full-grown man could fall in, boots and all. But Martina Martinez cleaned those pots and polished them until they shone like iluminada por la luna, the moonlight. Oh, said her abuela, and she gave her a silver coin, not to save, not to put into the collection plate. You buy yourself something nice. It was worth a couple of dollars. What would you buy? What would you buy? Really?
A few coins.
Couple bucks. Buy yourself something nice.
Ice cream?
Ice cream. Ralph, what would you buy?
In those days, I would have bought myself a piece of electronics.
Well, she couldn't afford that, and she didn't want the ice cream to just disappear in a couple of licks, so she bought herself some ribbons. Now, she was not one of those girls all, no, but everybody likes to look nice sometimes. She bought herself some red ribbons, and she put them in her hair, and she sat out on the porch that evening. And along came Senor Gato with his tail up high in the air. And he said, Martina Martinez, que vaya eres, how beautiful you are. Oh, it must be my red ribbons, she said. This was the first time Senor Gato, the cat, had spoken to her. Would you marry me, he asked. That was strange. But she gathered up her wits, and she said, well, how would you sing our babies to sleep? And Senor Gato said, meow. Oh, that will not do. And Senor Gato walked off with his tail still high in the air because he didn't care. He didn't care. Didn't care. And then along came Senor Pero with his tail wagging back and forth, and he said, Martina Martinez, que vaya eres, how beautiful you are. Oh, it must be my red ribbons. Would you marry me? Asked Senor Pero the dog. Please. Please. Please.
Senor Gato.
Senor Gato. How would you sing our babies to sleep, she asked. And I need a little help here for Senor Pero, please. Oh, that will not do. That will scare the babies. But she gave him a pat on the head. So he trotted off, happy still, happy still, happy still. And now comes Senor Gajo with his fine feet and his fine feathered tail and the fine comb on the top of his head. And Senor Gajo said, Martina Martinez, que vaya eres. You are almost as beautiful as me, the rooster. We should marry. And she said, but how would you sing our babies to sleep? He's in Argentina, so he sings Kiki-Riki.
Kiki-Riki.
Louder. Oh, who did that? Oh! Don't wake the babies, you silly bird. And Signor Gaggio strutted off, just a little hurt. But someone else came by. Raton Perez had been coming by every evening, and sometimes he smiled, sometimes he waved, but he had never said a word. He was quiet as a mouse. He was a mouse.
Oh.
But a mouse with a steady job and excellent manners.
Oh.
Does anyone know what Raton Perez does in South America? He is the tooth fairy. I have no idea how this makes him any money, but it's good work. He's held it for centuries. So Raton Perez, this time he spoke. He said, Martina Martinez, que bella eres. How beautiful you are. Oh, it must be my red ribbons. Oh, no, said Raton Perez. It is you. Oh, would you like some lemonade? And they sat out on the porch and drank lemonade until all the stars came out. She liked his jokes. He liked her wit. It wasn't long before they were married. And they invited everyone they knew to come to their new house after they were. And of course, Martina had to go to Lita and ask for not, but the pot. And she put in orange carrots and red beans and green beans and white potatoes and so many spices and so much water. And she climbed up on a chair to stir the soup. And Raton Perez cleaned the house from top to bottom. And when the water had boiled off too much, she went down to the fountain to get some more. Raton, do not go near my Abuela's pot. A full-grown man could fall in, boots and all, and you, my dear, her mouse. She went off to the fountain, and he cleaned the house, and the soup smelled so good. And it sang in the pot, and he had to have a little look. And there was a golden onion that bobbed up and down. It looked so good. Up and down, it smelled so good. But he got a fork. Plop, boots and all. Martina came back from the fountain, and no Raton. She ran out into the garden, and she cried, and the little birds asked her what was wrong. My Raton fell into the pot, and I cannot stop crying. Then we shall cut off our beaks in sorrow, said the birds. And they did. And then Paloma the dove came by, and she said, what's with the beakless birds? And Martina Martinez de Perez said, my Raton has fallen into the soup pot, and I cannot stop crying, and the birds have cut off their beaks in sorrow. Then I shall cut off my tail, said Paloma, and she did. And she hobbled on down to the fountain, and the fountain said, where is your tail? Raton Perez fell into the soup pot. Martina cannot stop crying. The little birds cut off their beaks, and I cut off my tail in sorrow, said Paloma. Oh, that's awful. I'll stop up my water, said the fountain, and she did. Rosalma Rosita came down to the fountain, and there was no water to be had. Where's the water? Raton Perez fell into the soup pot. Martina cannot stop crying. The little birds have cut off their beaks. Paloma cut off her tail. I have stopped up my water in sorrow, said the fountain. Then who? Said Rosalma Rosita. He's helping Raton Perez. And she ran and got Signor Gaggio and Signor Gatto and Signor Pero. And they all went to the house, and the rooster went into the pot. Which happens, only this time he came out. Everyone pulled on everyone's tails until Raton was lying there on the kitchen floor, and Martina remembered she had wits. She whacked her husband on the back. Out came the soup, and in came the air. And then she made a little paste and put those beaks back on, and the birds sang with happiness. And then she sewed Paloma's tail, and the dove flew with joy, and the fountain bubbled over, and everybody ate, and they 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 ate, right down to the golden onion in the bottom of the pot. And if that is not how you heard it told. It's how you've heard it now.